Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Once again, thank you very much for joining me today on this Crew First Culture podcast. And yes, this is a Tuesday episode of the Monday Mindset Check. And so, that being said, definitely want to apologize for being a little late. I believe I've kind of spoken a few times about some of the issues with getting these Monday episodes done, and now that we have all the school age kids home, it's just really complicated trying to figure out kind of where my time needs to go. So it seems that these episodes kind of take the back seat, and I apologize for that. But they're obviously not going to be put above my family, and I feel like that what little time I do have that I can kind of put aside, I want to make sure to do the full episodes with guests because I just feel like those are so much more valuable to people, and hopefully that they just seem to be able to add a lot more value to people's lives. So anyway, I try to put the priority as far as podcast into those, and sometimes time just runs out and I don't get to the Monday one. So that's where we're at today. And that being said, I did record an episode for today several days ago. I actually sat and recorded it several times, and each time I didn't like it. I wasn't. It's not like I just really enjoy hearing my voice when it's just me by myself, but what I was putting out there in this episode, I really liked the content, but I wasn't happy with the result. So I'm going to do a little bit more research. It's definitely something that I will be getting into again when I'm more prepared. But I didn't want to just throw something out there so that I could fulfill the Monday, you know, timeline. And so I hope that you appreciate that. I do try to as much as it shows or doesn't show, I do try to make sure that putting something halfway decent out. But anyway, so totally different subject from that then, and we'll get into it right here. And this is going to be kind of a common theme for this week. And I say that as in, so I am recording this on Tuesday. I will came in early for work again, and that again seems to be the best time for me to do this stuff because it doesn't really take away time from anything else. But uh Sunday night, just a couple days ago, I was very honored to be a guest on the Unlock Your Culture webcast. And kind of the topic that I brought along for that was just grow through humility. And if you didn't get a chance to hear that yet or watch it on YouTube, they released it now onto YouTube, and so it's there to watch. I really enjoyed it. It's not just me talking, it's uh the hosts are amazing people. You got Mark Alone and Sean Duffy were there. They have a couple other hosts, but they were basically unavailable. But just a lot of insight, and it's just a great topic, especially for leaders, and just something that needs to be discussed because I feel like it is so important that, without humility you don't have the ability to grow or learn. You just don't. And so anyway, please go listen to that, or look it up on YouTube. Again, it's the Unlock Your Culture webcast. That's the name of their channel, and you can go find my episode and the others that they've done. And so, like I said, this is something that we talked about a little bit there. I just put a post out yesterday, kind of discussing the same thing, and also my guest for this coming Thursday, who I really look forward to talking to, Todd Edwards. We kind of talk about it a little bit as well. And so hopefully I'm not just bombarding you with the same information. I just want I feel like it's worth hitting on a couple different times. And so hopefully, if you did listen to all of those other things, it had not uh, boring you with this stuff, but I do want to address it. And so it comes from the form of a question that was asked of me during the webcast by my friend Brooke Ames, and that was basically, how do you create buy-in amongst your crew? And I think, really, I can't remember word for word how she worded it, but I think she was also kind of with the underlying theme of, on a crew that is not on the same mindset, or they're not like-minded individuals. That type of situation, where you're not just dealing with people that are probably easy to sway, but you're dealing with trying to create buy-in with people that are going to be hard sells. I guess that's the best way that I know how to put it. So anyway, this is obviously a question that I was not prepared to ask, and it took me a few seconds to kind of catch my bearings and to dig into it as deeply as I could, just very quickly. But that's another question, like so many leadership questions and topics, that I don't feel like there is a straight, quick, and easy answer. And a lot of times when I say that, I feel like it's almost a cop out, like you're trying to avoid the question. But with so many of these type of questions, I just, maybe it's just my newness in the role of being a station officer, that I just don't know enough about how it all works, or how exactly. I don't have enough slides in my slide tray, apparently, if that's a better way to put it, that I can just throw some answers out like that. And questions like this, I feel like they deserve the respect of really kind of doing some self-evaluation first before you answer them. Because if you're asked a question like that, it's a very important question, and there's a lot of people that want to hear these things. They want to learn from the people that have answers to that. And I feel like if you're just throwing out a quick answer that, maybe something that worked one time, or just something that sounds good, I feel like you're really, really doing a disservice to anyone that will put their time into listening to what you have to say. And so that's kind of why questions like that come up. And it's like, well, give me a second to think about this. I need to process it a little bit. And so anyway, I kind of rambled a little bit through it, but basically what I came up with fairly without notice and kind of on the spot is really what I keep going back to ever since it was asked of me. I've been evaluating it continually these past couple days, and I feel like the answer still, at least for me, stands very true. And so that's this. If you want to create buy-in with people, if you are leading a crew, a team, whatever it is, if you are somebody that needs to create the buy-in amongst the people you're leading, especially if you are leading people that are not really on board, it starts with you. And that means it starts with you as the leader. And so by that I mean, and basically what that post I put out yesterday on Instagram is be somebody worth following. And that was kind of the simplest I could break it down for, an Instagram post, is be somebody worth following for your team. Be somebody that is worth their respect. Be somebody that is worth their trust. Be somebody that is worth their effort to meet you where you want them to be. And so that's kind of getting into it. And another big piece of this is, and this is a conversation I've had with myself a lot, because this is an area that I have had to really realize I am not meeting the mark. And so it's this, I have a very big vision, a very just I, a clear vision is about the best way to put it. I have a very clear vision of what the culture that I want my station to look like. I know exactly how I want the end result to look like. And so I can't expect my team to fulfill the obligations that get us to that point. I will be very clear about what I want. I will be very clear about that vision and about the culture that I want to create. But to truly get there, I can't expect people to do the work for me. This is not their vision. I hope that they will buy into it and I hope that they will want to work towards that. But bottom line, this is not their vision. It is my vision. So if it is something that I truly want and I truly believe in and truly just think is the best place to be, then I have to be the one to drive those changes. I have to be the one to do the work. And not to say that I have to do all the work. You know, I I think empowerment is a huge piece of all this, and you know teamwork and all that. Obviously, those are big to me. But when the work has to be done, I have to be there doing it. And hopefully I have others with me. That's kind of where I was going there. But no matter what, I have to be there doing it. I have to be the one that is living by the character, the values, the culture that I want to create. Because if I am not living by that, it will never fly to make others live by it. And a good example of that is, like I am trying to do myself, creating an environment, creating a culture of daily personal growth. And for me, I like that term a lot better than daily training, because I think it I think it describes more of what I am looking for. Because there's some days where, we might just sit and watch a YouTube video over VES or thermal imaging cameras or whatever. So yeah, in a way that's training, but some people don't look at it like that. So I think wording it like I just did, maybe it might be easier for people to be accepting of. And I'm not at all the type of person that changes who I am to please people. But I feel like maybe wording it like that is going to help people understand what you're really wanting, and it's gonna maybe not run off as many people as you would with a saying it a different way. So anyway, daily growth, daily learning, and that could take the form of a couple hours of hands-on training, just getting out there and working your butt off and polishing up some skills, doing things that you haven't really done before, working scenarios that you haven't really thought of or ran through, or it could mean that, like I said, sitting and watching a couple hours of video, or if it's a weekend and you want to take it a little bit lighter, throw in a 45-minute podcast, an hour podcast, and that is what I'm talking about. That is the goal I'm trying to get to. And so, that being the case, going back to my point, if that is the culture I'm striving for, then I better be out there every day doing it. I better be learning something every day. I better be doing something to grow every day. And some days that absolutely may mean that I am out there doing it myself. Because, whatever is the case, if you aren't getting the energy from anybody else that day, if everybody else is just, whatever, I'm not going to go into specifics of all this, but still, there's so many variables that people that you'll come across. There's so many excuses that will be said, whatever it is. Sometimes it's just easier, and it's just, for a lack of better terms, it just takes less energy to go do it yourself. But the point is you're doing it. The point is you are sticking to those priorities that you're putting in place in order to create that culture, that create that environment. So that's kind of what I'm getting at today is if you truly want to do something good, if you truly want to create a culture that is the blueprint of what you want to create, if there are things out there that you want to accomplish, changes that you want to make, whatever it is, however great or small these things are, you have got to be the one doing it. And I know I have kind of touched on this before, but it really it really kind of made me think when I was asked that question, and we'll go back to that question, and basically this is just my explanation of it. And so, like I said, you can hear, a little bit of the other guy's thoughts if you'll listen to the webcast on that we did on Sunday, and you will be able to hear a little bit of Todd's thoughts. And Todd varied a little bit from me. I think maybe more worded it differently, but he definitely had some different things to say. So look for that on Thursday. So it's good to hear other people's thoughts and opinions on that question. But now that you've heard my opinion, now that you've heard what I have to say about it, I think it's time to self-reflect on that yourself. And so I will ask it again, and I will leave you with that, and I will leave you hopefully in a place that you can sit and think about this for a while. Because like I said, this shouldn't be a question that you can just throw out an answer really quick to. I don't feel like it's that type of question. I feel like it's a question that you really need to dig down deep and think about. And so like I said, I'll leave you with this, and I hope that you spend some time this week kind of digging into that, and thinking about, think about things that you've done to answer this question, things that maybe ideas that you have to accomplish this goal, whatever it is. Just really dig in, do some self-reflection. Like always, I like to give these thoughts that you can spend a few days on, to maybe find some areas that you can grow, find some areas that you can learn from other people on, all of that. So anyway, how can you, or how do you create buy-in within your crew, especially when you have some people that are not like-minded and are not on the same page? So I will leave you with that. I hope that it leads to some good thoughts, some good growth, hopefully maybe even some good discussions within your team or crew. And so I appreciate your time. Again, I'm sorry that we're running a little bit late. I cannot promise that this won't be the last one. I'll try my best to kind of get it back on track, but I do appreciate you hanging in there with me, and listening, and making the fire service better with me. So hope you have a great week. Look forward to getting you back on Thursday and sharing that conversation with you. And until then, stay safe and take care of each other.